We spend $3 billion on Ukraine, $8 billion on foreign aid. What do you say to those who say, spend that money at home?
I understand that argument, but I think in relation to, let's say, Ukraine, we have to understand that that war in Ukraine is not just about Ukraine. It's about Russian aggression. It's about our freedom, our democracy, the way we're able to exercise our rights in this country. It is the frontier of freedom.
Mr. Speaker, this government was elected to clear up the mess left by the party opposition and to bring about the change that the country desperately needs. Our first job was to audit the books, and what we found was a £22 billion black hole.
There is a budget coming in October, and it's going to be painful. I can announce this government will begin the biggest sustained increase in defence spending since the end of the Cold War. We want to ensure that as we go forward, more pensioners are eligible for winter fuel payments. We keep saying, collectively as a party, we've got to take tough decisions. And in the abstract, everyone says, that's right, Keir. And then we get a tough decision. We've been in one of those for the last few days, saying, well, don't like that.
Can we just not make that one?
Do you see how it looks to some people that there's one rule for you in terms of being able to claim this stuff that other people don't have access to?
Well, I think that's why the rules are there to declare it. But look, every day...
Do you get it, though?
Every day...
Do you get how it looks?
If you're putting to me, Beth, that I should have stayed in my Kentish Town home and disrupted my son's GCSEs, that was the right thing to do, then I think you should put that to me.
Have you ever been listening to a politician talk and realised halfway through that they're actually a piece of shit? How long did it take you to acknowledge that you have absolutely nothing in common with these people? One thing people often say to me once they've had to suffer the miserable misfortune of listening to me ramble is, bro, you are so deep, you should get into politics. Look, about that. I've long concluded that you have to be a real nasty piece of work to become a powerful politician. And if you're not a powerful politician, you're not going to change anything that counts anytime soon. Is that pessimistic? Maybe. But dealing in facts hurts sometimes. Nowhere is it more apparent than in politics that the good guy finishes last. Look at Corbyn. Man got publicly crucified for being a decent human being.
But what was even more inspiring was the number of young people who got involved for the very first time. Because they were fed up with being denigrated, fed up with being told they don't matter, fed up with being told they never participate, and utterly fed up with being told that their generation was going to pay more to get less in education, in health, in housing, in pensions, and everything else. That they should accept low wages, they should accept insecurity, and they should see it as just part of life.
He has all the values necessary to become a leader of the people and for the people. Admittedly, he's not perfect, but he is honest and he cares about normal people, which is a far cry from our current pool of politicians. See, the unfortunate thing about Corbyn is that he lacks the cunning cynicism and ruthless nature required to weed out the rot and fend off the character assassinations. Representing genuine systemic change doesn't mean shit if you haven't got the political prowess to challenge the establishment and their unabashed, sycophantic lapdogs.
The Labour Party welcomes everyone except, it seems, Jews. This is your legacy, Mr. Corbyn.
Whatever the right honourable gentleman says about combating anti-Semitism in the Labour Party will mean nothing until he withdraws the remark that they were his friends.
That's not to say that it's all Corbyn's fault. The public need to take responsibility too for being so fucking gullible. Once again, we was convinced to vote against our own interests. And if you don't believe me, I'd love to hear you explain how our current political situation resembles that of which the Tories resided over. I don't know about you, But I'm sick to death with the obfuscation, broken promises, and bullshit rhetoric. When I look at the track record of politicians, I ask myself with incredulity, how the fuck do these people sleep at night? The label, scumbags, doesn't cut deep enough, does it? Isn't it time that we put a stop to these self-serving bellends cosplaying as gentlemen? They're not gentlemen. They're despicable. They're morally bankrupt abominations. They're not worthy of admiration. They're an embarrassment, a stain, sullying the sanctity of community.
That relates to the first question, why politicians lie. The simple answer is because we let them. We have the power to prevent it. But if you don't use the power, if you sit back and say, I don't care, then they'll lie. And they have good reasons to. If politicians told the truth, I think you'd decide for yourselves. I think they would be saying what I was just talking about. They would be saying, we don't care at all about your security or your safety or your survival. We care about our power and about the power of the concentrated domestic power, which in our societies means basically the corporate sector.
Let me be clear. They are out of touch, psychopathic, narcissistic demons in a literal sense. All this nonsense about how it's impolite to call a politician a liar. No, it's not. What are we talking about? What are we doing here? Sanitizing the truth. Parliamentary procedure insists that calling a politician a liar is improper and that we shouldn't do it. Yes, we should.
But I want to say one thing to the American people. I want you to listen to me. I'm going to say this again. I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
See, if you're a liar, Boris, Bush, Blair, Trump, Clinton, Obama, Starmer, etc., you should get called a fucking liar. It doesn't matter if you're the Queen, the Pope, my mum, or a 5-star general. You should get called out. So if you lie to me and my people, not only am I calling you out, I'm sending for you. I'm fucking sending for you. Let's stop all this pussyfooting around. Call a spade, call a prick, and call it how it is.
The way in which we perceive politics and the reality of what it is, the kinds of corroded personalities that are formed, campaigning and the media cycle and the whips and the parties turn you into something
you don't want to be.
If you knowingly give the green light to bomb innocent children, you are a piece of shit. If you knowingly push through policies that leave old people freezing to death, you are a piece of shit. If you deny children free school meals whilst approving a pay rise for yourself, you are a piece of shit.
I'm literally a communist.
If you run a campaign on a promise of not raising council tax and then immediately backtrack once in power, you are a piece of shit. If you arm genocidal regimes, you are a piece of shit. If you take personal donations and pretend like it doesn't influence your decisions, you are a piece of shit.
You are a rude, terrible person.
If you knowingly allow water companies to dump untreated sewage water into local rivers that children swim in, you are a piece of shit. If you preach climate change whilst investing in oil companies, you are a piece of shit.
Boring. Boring.
If you criminalize homelessness while leaving homes empty for profit, you are a piece of shit. If you deregulate restrictions or sign off contracts to companies offering you board of directors positions after you leave office, you are a piece of shit. And so on, and so on, and so on. So, that begs the question. If good people can't change the system from within it, what is the solution? Well, if you can't fix it from within, you hack it from without on some Kevin Mitnick shit. So no, I won't be getting into politics. To some people's disappointment, I will not be running for office and becoming a piece of shit anytime soon. But what I will be doing is playing my part. I know my purpose. I found my niche. I've got the skill set to speak with clarity, to reach an audience, to broadcast a message, an alternative message. One that doesn't ask for votes, or wait for permission, or pander to trends, or dilute itself to appease etiquette. One that doesn't bend the knee to power, profit, or public relations, but stands on truth, even when the truth is unpopular. One that remembers that real change doesn't come through rhetoric, but through the minds of young men and women who are spirited and refuse to turn a blind eye.
Millions of people are dying in monsoons, wildfires and severe droughts. We cannot afford new oil and gas. It is going to take everything we know and love.
Now look, I'm not stupid. I'm under no illusions. I know that even if politics was completely transparent, above board and dare I say fair, there'd still be conflict, discrepancies, ideological differences between people who see the world differently. And that's okay, but at least it would be transparent, above board and fair. How are we, the electorate, supposed to make informed political decisions when we are constantly being lied to by leaders, legacy media and spin doctors? When so-called journalists, bought and paid for, conduct softball interviews and refuse to ask the difficult questions that we want answered. Questions that might actually hold someone to account. It's bullshit, it's broken, it's redundant, it's feckless, it's pathetic.
Order! Order!
So, on a mission to combat these despotic structures, the first thing I want to address is how and where we consume information. We can break this down into two categories: sourcing and critical thinking. Firstly, where should we source our information? Admittedly, this part is tricky, but my first piece of advice is cast your net wide and then over time, start to rein it in. You'll begin to get a feel for who talks shit and where the facts are being dropped.
This is an echo chamber, a space designed to produce reverberations and echoes at London's South Bank University. Online, a similar thing is happening, according to a new study from think tank Demos. Social media users only tend to engage with people and news sources that have the same political beliefs. Everyone is talking to themselves.
Read books, explore different platforms, watch debates of contrasting opinions, and avoid echo chambers. Note, biases are not problematic as long as you're aware of them. In fact, biases are unavoidable. But if your YouTube feed is inundated with anti-immigration content, you're probably guilty of ignoring counter-arguments that challenge your beliefs. And that's an issue because it suggests you have a blind spot. Listen to as many opinions as possible, especially the ones you disagree with. If you think someone's wrong, don't just dismiss them emotionally. Deconstruct their argument, break it down point by point, and expose the flaws. No one should be above criticism, and no one should be below praise. Case in point, I deeply respect Jordan Peterson for what he's done for young men over the last 10 years. He's a fantastic thinker. Having said that, at times, and to my disappointment, more frequently recently, he talks absolute nonsense. Conversely, I'm no fan of Andrew Tate. I think he's a self-aggrandizing, opportunistic egomaniac with an unacceptable penchant for misogyny, but sometimes his analysis is on point. No one should be above criticism. No one should be below praise. Okay, now we know how to source information, let's talk about how to evaluate it. Critical thinking. Anyone that knows me well will know that this is a personal passion of mine. Critical thinking starts with one question. How do I know what I think I know is true? In other words, how do I know that my beliefs are correct?
What if I'm right?
What if I'm wrong?
Well, if I'm wrong, then...
How do I know that this will not happen with a car?
Academics call this field of study epistemology. You don't need to remember that. You just need to know that there are levels to this and that it's never too late to up your game. Some ways of thinking are better than others, assuming that your goal is to believe as many true things and as few false things as possible. So, to level yourself up, you need to consider the following. What counts as evidence? How can you justify your beliefs? Can you admit when you don't know something? Are there inconsistencies in your beliefs? And do any of your beliefs conflict with observable data? Do you ever wonder why some people can stare at the same set of facts and walk away with opposing beliefs? It's because there are levels to epistemology. And we need epistemology because this world is full of illusions. It's a snake oil factory. Spins, headlines, sound bites, misdirection and straight up lies. Mainstream doesn't just tell you what to think, it tells you how to think, and more dangerously, how to feel about what you think. Critical thinking is the antidote.
It's the most powerful weapon you can possibly provide someone with. And I know lots of people who've been staggeringly successful and watched them throughout my life. I mean, those people, you don't want to have an argument with them. They'll just slash you into pieces. And not in a malevolent way. It's like, if you're going to make your point and they're going to make their point, you better have your points organized, because otherwise you are going to look like and be an absolute idiot. You are not going to get anywhere.
What's more important to you, unity or winning?
Winning. What you will always get from me is someone who believes honesty and integrity matter. Well, look, the attacks on Jeremy Corbyn in that election we've just had were terrible, and they came back at us on the door. I'm not going to rank Jeremy Corbyn. He's a colleague, he's a friend, and he's led us through some really difficult times in the Labour Party, and I don't want to trivialise that by giving him a number out of 10. I respect him and thank him for what he's done, but I'm not going to get involved in that. I want to pay tribute to Jeremy Corbyn, who led our party through some really difficult times, who energised our movement.
And who's a friend as well as a colleague.
Let me be very clear about that. Jeremy Corbyn will not stand for Labour at the next general election as a Labour Party candidate.
He's led us through some really difficult times in the Labour Party.
Yeah,
no, he's not a friend.
No, not in the sense that we were, went to visit each other or anything like that. I worked with him as a colleague. We welcome migrants. We don't scapegoat them.
In this, the Keir Starmer manifesto from 2019, it says, we need to defend migrants' rights and argue for free movement in the EU.
We don't want open borders. Freedom of movement has gone and it's not coming back. So yes, I believe in this. I believe we need to reduce immigration.
Significantly.
A siege is appropriate? Cutting off power, cutting off water?
Well, I think that Israel does have that right. It is an ongoing situation. Responsibility lies with Hamas, and Israel has the right to defend herself and take action in relation to the ongoing hostage situation. I can confirm the UK will recognise the State of Palestine by the United Nations General Assembly in September, unless the Israeli government takes substantive steps to end the appalling situation in Gaza. Air quality, climate change is the issue of our time, and as the Extinction Rebellion protest showed us this week, the next generation are not going to forgive us if we don't take action. Get up, go home. I'm opposed to what you're doing. It's not the way to deal with the climate crisis. The police need powers to deal with...
Just stop oil at some of their tactics.
I'm really pleased to be here this morning supporting the staff at McDonald's who are on strike. I've just been with your colleagues round the corner at SOAS, got a picket line out there.
Previously, you told your front bench not to cross the picket line. That was for the strikes back in June. Is that something you'll be saying to them again?
Yeah.
Is it a pledge that these industries will be in your manifesto for nationalisation?
Yes, it is.
Will you nationalise the big six energy companies, yes or no?
No. I'm not in favour of nationalisation. Tuition fees is a huge debt for young people that they carry with them for a very long time, and that's why we rightly committed at the last election to get rid of tuition fees.
Energy is one area that you've backtracked since you became Labour leader, ditching your promise to spend £28 billion a year in green investment. It's not the only one, is it? You've also dropped pledges to abolish university tuition fees, increase income tax for the top 5% of earners, bring into public ownership the utilities. So are people right to worry that any promises you make now will be junked once you're in number 10?
Well, let me. What you will always get from me is someone who believes honesty and integrity matter.
Well, that's bullshit.
I highly recommend looking into logical fallacies, propositional syllogisms, inductive reasoning, the Dunning-Kruger effect, and the Socratic method. Do that until your ability to confidently debate people and spot deficiencies and weak arguments becomes second nature to you, and then you would have mastered the art of critical thinking, and then you will be immune to bullshit rhetoric. Challenge your colleagues, challenge your friends, challenge your loved ones. Let's teach each other to think better. And when someone asks you, why don't you get into politics? You can tell them it's because you don't want to become a piece of shit. Spot the logical fallacy in that one. Until next time, truth over trends, like, comment and subscribe. I'll see you on the other side.